Oh, Rabbi Wilhelm.
Hey, Shulim. Mazel Tov, it's a Yom Haledes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Chaim l'chaim should be a shnas hatzlacha. You know, the Rebbe has a list of things that people should do for the Yom Haledes. Yom Haledes is not a day, just another day to have a piece of birthday cake and pom-poms on the head. Yom Haledes is a serious time. The Rebbe writes now Yom Yom on his Yom Haledes, Yud Aleph Nisna Yom Yom, that what it's a day of dedication, a day of thinking and making achlatas tovos. It's a serious day. L'chaim, l'chaim. I'm here with my good friend Reb Noach, and I'm drinking wine. He's drinking some other thing. And before we do the weekly parsha, I want to tell you a little about wine. This is the season. I was telling you earlier that the Eibush to set up the Jewish business. Every business has a season. The bakeries have a season, challahs and matzahs, and the groceries and the butchers, and we have a season, Baruch Hashem, for every business. You're a lawyer. Is there a lawyer season for you?
Year round.
Year round. Anyways, what's the biggest wine season? I would say Mismach Geula LeGeula. Geulas Purim, the Geulas Mitzrayim, Purim and Pesach are the two biggest wine seasons. So Chazal say about wine, Kol Bayis Shalei Nishbach by Yayin Kemayim, it's not a siman bracha. It's a siman bracha to have wine pouring in the house like water. What is that? So I saw a good pshat. What's the difference when a person drinks alcohol versus drinking Diet Coke or anything else? A person, when he's thirsty, he drinks a little water, drinks Diet Coke, and that's it. It doesn't have an effect on him. A person drinks wine, he has to be very careful, because if he drinks too much, the intake and eventually, some time, he's a different person. So a person, kol bayis, this is what the Chazal say. Mayim, water, the three letters of Mem, Yud, Mem could be read frontwards and backwards, reverse. If you drink wine in a way that when you take it in, it's the same as the end after you finish it, that's a siman bracha. The yayin, the drinking of the wine, should be like the mayim, that when you drink it and when you finish it, you're not tipsy. If Rahman al-Islan, it takes you to a different place, that's not a siman bracha. So l'chaim, I'm saying this with a clear mind. You should have a shnas hatzlacha and only good. Let's talk a little about the parsha. Again, the parsha's v'Yikehel. This week, by the way, is a double-header. It's parsha's para. I actually heard somebody, I'm not mentioning names, somebody made a mistake last week in his, I make mistakes sometimes too, but last week in somebody's weekly video, he said last week was parsha's para. This week is parsha's para. Parsha's v'Yikehel and parsha's para. And v'Yikehel, again, we repeat the things that were brought to the Beis HaMikdash, for the Mishkan, things that were brought donations. It's interesting to note, and this is a question for all the Chachamim who are listening, a lot of important things and expensive things were brought to the building of the Beis Mishkan. However, we don't find meshi, we don't find silk. There's no silk in the... Rabbeinu Bechaya gives a reason why we don't have silk. It's made from a non-kosher species, whatever it is. So the question is, from one hand, the Mishkan didn't have silk, and yet we make, as Chassidim, we make a big thing that on Shabbos and Yom Tov you should wear a silk kapata. The Mishkan, the Rabbeinu Bechaya says specifically not. So I'll let the people try to find the answer to that. But there is a contradiction in Chazal, seems to be, about the structure, the building, the Mishkan, the building of the Mikdash. On one hand, we say, Ein aniyas v'makim ashiris. You want to act rich? You want it to look like a royal place? Don't be cheap. Don't make it look poor. And therefore, things chip, things break, put it away, get a new one. There's no putting patches and lattes. It's supposed to be a royal place. It's supposed to be a rich place. No acting poor. And then from the other hand, Chazal say, HaTorah chasam b'moinish Yisrael. Torah is very careful not to waste money. So what is it? Do you have to be careful with your money or not? This is a question that I think it was the Chassam Sofer or the Noda B'Yehuda addresses. So in the Mishkan, the Medrash says, Nivra Kesef V'Zav, the reason why the Eibishter created money and gold and silver was for holy things, was for the Beis HaMikdash. So again, we find everything that was brought. one of the things that were brought was the Avnei Shoyam va'Avnei Meiluim, the stones. Now, la'ephod v'la'choshen. It's very important to note. The choshen had the stones. Some of the stones were very expensive. Some of the stones were not expensive. Were very simple stones. And the Mefarshim say there's a lesson to be learned from that. The Klei Yoker says, what's the lesson? That the choshen symbolizes judgment, the choshen mishpat, yeah, right? When disputes amongst people. So when a bezdin judges a case, yes, there are some very expensive stones and there are very cheap stones. The halacha says when a case is come in front of a bezdin, you can't just take the $1 million case and the $100 case and you're in the bottom of the list. You have to treat every case as important as the other. That's how it's symbolic in the way of the stones. Another thing is that in the stones on the choshen, the Klei Yoker says all the shvatim's names were written kitol doisam, as they were born. In other words, one of them could have had a more honor or a better job, smarter, more religious or whatever. No, it's kitol doisam. The same thing. You don't show any favorites. In mishpat, you have to be very honest in what you do. But the two sets of stones, one was the choshen and one was the ephod. And in the ephod there were the Avnei Shoyam, where over here it's also mentioned the names of the shvatim. It's always Lizikaron of Hashem. It's always to be remembered. Who brought these stones? So the Torah says in this week's parsha, Noah, hold this please. The Torah says, Vahanevim. Where is this pasuk? It says that the Nevi'im brought these stones. And the question is, why is the Nevi'im written with missing a yud? So the Rashi says, because they waited to be the last ones to bring it. So that's why the word Nevi'im is missing a yud. Why did they wait the last ones? So it's Vanasim, not Vanavim, sorry. Vanasim. This is in Perik Lamed Hey, Pasuk Chav Zayin. Vanasim. Says Rashi, why is it missing a yud? Because they said, let everybody donate what they want. We'll come and do the leftovers if anything is missing. So for that, they take out the letter yud. What's wrong? Isn't that a good way? We're going to fill in whatever is missing. So there's a beautiful sikha from the Rebbe about that. And so the Ksav Sefer says that Hayos the Chazal say that Eina mitzvah in the Kras El Al Shem Goimra, that who gets the credit, who gets the title for doing the mitzvah, the one who completes it. So they wanted to get the credits, and they wanted to be the last one to complete it. So that's why the letter Yud is missing. That shows you got to be a little more humble. But the fact is, what they did wrong, and that's why the letter Yud is taken out of their word, out of the name, Vanasim, is when the Moshe Rabbeinu says we need something, don't make calculations. Go ahead and do it. Don't be, even though the calculations make sense, we'll fill in. But Moshe Rabbeinu says, go ahead and do it. Some say that this is actually hinted in the pasuk. Moshe Rabbeinu gives a speech. We need this and this and this. It says, "Vayetzu lefnei Moshe." They left Moshe. Where are you running? First of all, Chazal say you can't leave in front of your Rebbe. You have to ask permission. So it says, Moshe said, "We're on the go. We're hineni. We're doing it." Zrizus, to fulfill a mitzvah is very, very important. Now, some say the reason why Vanasim is written without a yud is because at this time they were not really Nasim yet. They were appointed as Nasim later on, so they weren't yet real Nasim. So that's why it's written yud, but without a yud. But this is what we learn from this parsha. We learned that you have to have the midah of zrizus. Things is needed, no calculations, just do it. One other thing, a very, very important lesson you learn, is the beginning of Parsha. Vayakal Moshe. Moshe Rabbeinu gathered Klal Yisrael. This is, and the Rashi brings, and the Rebbe pushed this, that every Shabbos people should come together, and in unity you should learn something. Bimakol Kilas Shabbos. But the Chassidish Pshat is, Vayomer Aleim Eila Dvarim Asher Tziva Hashem Lasos. This is what Hashem wants you to do. What? So the simple pshat is Hashem wants you to work 6 days of the week, and the seventh day keep Shabbos, and then build a mishkan. No, Chassidish pshat is Vayakal Moshe. Moshe gathered everybody together. Let's do this thing. Let's be in unity. Zeh hadavar. Eila dvarim asher tziva Hashem las. This, the being in unity, is what Hashem wants. You have unity, you'll always be successful, and whatever you do, as the Rebbe would always quote, Barcheinu Avinu, give us the bracha if kulanu ke'echad, if we're here as one. L'chaim, l'chaim.